tarde a todos. I want to welcome you all to Curtas, to Vila do Conde, to another meeting with the directors, the filmmakers. We have with us today 5 directors from the Portuguese competition and the international competition. Well, they all are competing for the international prize, but some of them are also competing for the Portuguese competition. Right next to me, I have Pedro Neves, that presented yesterday the movie Dreams of a Revolution. We have also Nuno Amorim, director of Look. We have also Quentin Papapietro, I hope I said it correctly, director of Santonge Roundabout. We have with us Diogo Baldaia, director of Sonido, Evans and Tobias. And finally, in the right corner for me, in the left corner for the audience at home, Tomás Baltazar, director of Life Railways, Restless Wind. Thank you all for being here, for being at Curtas with your movies, and for being here in this conversation. We are streaming online, so we are going to speak in English. But if you feel more comfortable in some parts of your answers to switch to Portuguese or French, please be our guests, okay? Also, you, the audience here in the Teatro Municipal, if you want to put some question, make some remarks, please be our guests also. I'll start it maybe by the middle, okay? Quentin, can we start with you? Sure. In the middle. Quentin brought us a funny movie, a very funny movie in my perspective, about a roundabout in a particular region of France, a region that was founded by the Romans. That maybe, but
more or less.
More or less, okay. But it's a very interesting game about the roundabout and all the geometry, the human and social geometry of roundabout. For how long do you enjoy watch and imagining histories for roundabouts?
Well, so my region is quite rural region with there is no big city, but there are lots of roundabouts in every.
It's near Bordeaux.
It's
right?
It's between Bordeaux and La Rochelle. These are the two main city around. But I grew up in a small town called Royan, where they have many roundabouts. But it was a game with my friend Cyril. We imagined when we were students in university, so 15 years ago, we imagined making a film about roundabouts, but it was more in a political and investigation point of view, asking how they are built and asking what are the financial interest behind those roundabouts, because sometimes we don't know really why there is a roundabout in the road just to yes, to roundabout. And maybe I was more interested in the aesthetical point of view of these sculptures in the middle of the roundabouts. And my friend Cyril went to doing something else with his profession. He's more an editor now, so he's not too much in cinema. So I took back this whole project to make it mine, and so I concentrate on the sculptures, aesthetic point of view, and yes, I'm trying to wonder to. It's a commentary on the sculpture and also a questioning of what does it reflects of the region and how we can perceive the region through the roundabouts. And for this, I was very inspired also by the filmmaker Luc Moulet. He's a a new wave filmmaker, not so famous as Godard and Truffaut, but he started at the same period, and he has made several films, documentary films about weird subjects, and also with a very ironical commentary. So I wanted to have him in my film. So at one moment in my film, the main narrator is Eugene Green, the filmmaker also, quite famous in Portugal because he made several films in Lisboa.
And also here in Conde was
also, oh yeah,
3 years ago.
And he's a friend of mine. But at one point, there is another guy trying to interrupt Eugene Green to comment the film, and it's Luc Moulet. So he says, "I'm older, I have to comment this film." And Eugene says, "Okay, but only for 1 minute," and then I go back.
Your movie starts with some kind of historical context on the Romans and on the roundabout since the 18th century.
It was quite important region in the Roman time and period. So there are several.
That is historical research, or is something in the common sense that people talks for generations to generation. You read that in books, the history of the roundabouts and all.
History of the roundabouts. It's more. I made some research, but it's more personal comments. Mm-hmm. But the Roman, yes, Saint, the historical. Capital, main cities of the region, was a quite important city in the Roman times. They have amphitheater, they have Arc de Triomphe, there are several columns, and they have an archaeological museum in the city. So yes, it was quite important.
You go back to the Romans and to the French history, but you ended in the present with the yellow jackets.
Yes.
I don't know how to say in French.
Mm-hmm. I put a yellow jacket on
a family of activists
in
the roundabout.
Yeah.
Did you put them there? It
yes,
was not. Okay.
Because we had the idea of the film maybe 10 years ago, and then arrived the Yellow Jacket movement. So when I was saying to people I'm going to make a film about roundabouts, they say, "Oh yeah, it's going to be about the Yellow Jacket." I said, "No, not exactly," but I said, "Okay, we will have one roundabout with Yellow Jacket." Even it's not the subject of the film, I have to mention it. If I don't, people will ask why you refuse to see the political aspect. So I said, "Okay, for one." And so I asked my friends and family to be extras as Yellow Jacket, but frozen Yellow Jacket. They become a sculpture.
Your
also.
Own family.
Yes, it was my parents and a few friends.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Quentin. Tomás, can we go now from the French roundabouts to the railroads in Portugal, in Douro? Your movie is also in movement, yes. Right? Not around the roundabout, but along a river, a very famous river in Portugal, in Portuguese culture, and particularly in Portuguese cinema. Mm-hmm. Your film is an inspiration of pre-existent text by Agostina Bessa Luís, which exactly. Is also a person very, very important for Portuguese cinema and for Portuguese culture. Can you talk a little bit of how it started? How did you choose to adapt that particular text by Agostina?
Yeah, it's quite a yes, sure. It's quite a long process because at the beginning the book is called Estações da Vida, and it's totally not in the way Agostina usually writes. It's a very intimate in a way, confessional memory book in a way. It was made in 2000. It was written in 2003, and it was about the Portuguese styles. It's a kind of description of tiles azulejos. She was invited to write about that in a way, and suddenly she got bored or something, and she started writing about many things that arose to her mind about the idea and the iconography that goes around the tiles. And suddenly what I see is this book that it's not a very long book, but it's short but very intense because it goes in many directions. Her own personal memory about railway routes that she did when she was young. Then she suddenly goes to these sisters. It's a fictional story that she makes about these sisters that go from Douro to Porto all the time in our days, at those days, 2003. And suddenly, okay, we go for the tiles themselves. So it was really difficult to put this in for me because there wasn't a straight line as a story of characters that come and go or something. So at that point, I was unaware of what could I do. So what I really trying to adapt was to create this interview of a character that came from because she talks about a lot about ethnographer Mario Schneider, German, and as a homage to this guy that did a lot for our culture. I put an interview between him in a way and the main character, which is a writer. It's not Agustin, it's Alma Bench in Samuel and Alma Bench reincarnated in a way. Agustina is Isabel Ruth, which plays wonderful, and that is it, because it was so many layers that I had to create a way to, because the book is very dense, and Agustina is Agustina, okay? So it's a monument of her in her written, and she goes from the image to the written piece, and then to the image again. So I had a look already. There was an image, a word, and then I had to search for the image that was this combination between word and image. And that's it was a very difficult in a way task, and but very proficuous in a way to grow up as a person and as also this idea, because mainly I'm an editor, and the idea of editing and directing are completely two different things, and this was a proof for that. That's why I didn't edit my own films. So it was a great adventure, this adaptation, and to create layers, and of course creating that was the most challenging thing, is with such a strong text to create a cinematograph language, because Agostinho has been adapted for one of the best known directors in Portugal, especially Manuel Oliveira or Paulo Rocha. So it's Botelho also, Curto Norte, yes. So it's every heritage in a way, but it was a very self-learning experience, and the film in a way projects that, and I think that's the most important. It was an inspiration, but it was the idea of a written text and putting into image is much more complex than we think when doing it especially with such a important, and Agostinho was a director in a way too. She really put it in words, view it again. We saw a lot of imagery going on in that book, and like I said, it's a very small book, but in a way very intense. And it's not easy because she made it a self-confidence in a way, which is not normal. She talks about her childhood, her grandfather that was also worked in railways. She has this intimate and familiar connection with the railroads. And I love trains. That's a personal passion, and it's an eminent also a cinema transport. It came at the same time almost. So it's lots of factors that came into this adaptation. Yes.
As you said, the book itself has a lot of layers, but you add a lot of cinematic layers in your movie. You talk about, you already mentioned Isabel Ruth. It's impossible to see your movie without remember another movies where Isabel Ruth plays a lady from the river. Particularly, I remember Rio do Ouro from Paulo Rocha. That seems natural for you. In which moment of your movie do you feel that the main character has to be Isabel Ruth? When you choose Isabel Ruth for this character?
Well, it was funny because it was in a conversation with Agostina's granddaughter, Lorenza, and I came to her and I said, I had this idea of making an interview putting this film with a writer, and we were discussing, and suddenly she just said, Isabel Ruth. And I said, Isabel Ruth, of course. It's because of all you said. It's the connection. Only in Portuguese cinema, it was an honor for me, and this is true. It was to work with her, but of her input, and of course her sense. She has such a long road and such a lightweight at the same time. She's a very light person with a long road, and that's difficult to live a life so long in cinema and still become light. And she has this power, and that's what I like, her power in a way. Then everything came naturally. As you said, she's related to this environment, this universe. I'm sure that Agostina and Isabel Ruth would love each other if they met they met, but only circumstantially. But if they have this absolutely light density, and Isabel Ruth was a great performer in a way. A performer, yeah, because that's what she says about herself, that she delivers herself. She delivered completely, and she trusted. She didn't know me very much, and that was also very important for me, this sign of trust, and the idea, and Isabel Ruth, of course, and that was good.
Thank you, Tomás. Okay, do you want some water? No. Okay. From the French roundabout, passing for the Douro River, and now another road movie or something like that. In Mozambique, Pedro, you give us a movie about a revolution that happened almost 50 years ago, but according to some of your characters, has not been complete. Can you talk a little bit to us? How was that process of connecting with those people and that idea of an unfinished revolution?
Yeah, of course. So, in fact, I don't know how a revolution ends, and I don't know if anybody knows how does a revolution end, and I would love to know it, and I don't. So maybe the answer is in the path that we can go through during the roads and the nature and the trees, and also looking for the ghosts that can tell us something about it. This seems very oniric, but it's the only way that after reading a lot, after reading not only history, but also stories and novels, and talking with a lot of people, this is always for me this idea of the lost dreams, the lost revolution, and this idea of a country that could be one thing and it's not. And then it for me it also applies. I can also apply that to us. We also had a revolution 1 year before, and I don't know where is it, and I would love to know when did it have an end, or if in a way we could continue a little bit that idea of a much better country. So I am for the last 7 years doing a feature film documentary, which is called The Followers of the Revolution. And I spent 2 months in Mozambique. I will have to return 1 month and a half more to finish that shooting. But when I was here organizing the footage and trying to understand if it was working or not, if this kind of idea was the right path for the film, suddenly it started to live by itself. And it was another story. It was not the story of the followers of the revolution, but only this part of the idea of these lost dreams, or these dreams that are still alive about a subject that can be either in the present, the past, or even the future. So I used some words that I adapted from some texts of Miyakoto, especially a book which is Mapeador de Ausências. I don't even know how to translate this.
Neocode doesn't like to translate.
Yeah,
be
so
translated.
yeah, but it was not a conscious thing when I did this. But I went to Inhaminga, which is that road that the film begins, because of that book and because of that the book, which is a novel. No, it's a fiction, but it's a fiction where I knew a lot about this Inhaminga massacre that the Portuguese committed against the Mozambique and the people from Mozambique in the late 60s and beginning of the 70s. So I went there because of the book, because of these words, and trying to find these people that could tell me a little bit more about it, but especially more the mood. Where are we today? So this was the kind of the mood that moved me into doing these dreams of a revolution.
Most of the images that we know from the Mozambican revolution back in 75 are from the capital, Maputo. And also we know Samora Machel and his vibrant speeches.
Yeah.
And of course you don't hide Samora Machel figure because it's very important for all the country. But you choose not to stay in Maputo, in the city, and to go to the rural to talk and hear and film people that usually don't speak about the revolution, don't speak about don't speak against the official narrative of the main party in Mozambique. Did you feel some fear, because we recently heard and read some news about some instability in Mozambique in past years? Did you feel in a way some fear or any kind of censorship in the people outside the big cities?
Well, I don't know if it's fear of censorship. The fear that sometimes, or well, it's not sometimes, it's there all the time, because it's a country that had to live with us for 500 years. After that, 1 million deaths in 16 years of a very big civil war. Even before that, it was bombings from the apartheid regime from South Africa and the Rhodesian army in the north. So what I feel a lot in Mozambique is this kind of we have to live today, and you don't see people often talking about the future, and that's the most impressive thing. It's like what do you think it's going to be something? And well, today we are okay, and because suddenly you can have a struggle again, or well, last year was the first time that the president of Mozambique visited the headquarters of Renamo, the other party. So in 50 years was the first time that someone was in Gorongosa
From the government.
from the government. So you can see, and they still have Kalashnikov in the flag. So yeah, it's not a very easy country, but it's probably how has Samora wanted it to be. Samora was usually said that for the kids that they were meant to build the best popular republic of the world. And when you enter in that country and you start meeting that people, you think that it could be possible, because they are really friendly, but in a moment it can explode. So it's this kind of a paradox with very friendly people that can explode all the time, because the war is always present. Now it's in the north, in Cabo Delgado, because of the huge gas reservations they have, the biggest of Africa. And when you have that kind of richness, you know you are going to have problems. Yeah, it's not. I didn't feel that sense of censorship, but more this fear of of not knowing how the future is going to be.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. You talk in your intervention about ghosts and the oniric, and that remember me the movie that Diogo brought to us here to Curtas, because in a way Diogo, according if I remember your last movies that we saw here and other movies that you made, you are I think you are searching for a different way of narrativity, more sensorial than conventional. Are you happy with the path that you are being doing, or you are still wanted to explore more or in a different way?
Okay, I'm gonna try to speak in English.
If you want.
You know, I will try. No, I think I'm gonna try to do things more linear and narrative from now on.
From now on?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I'm happy. I don't know. Yeah.
how this start this Sonido movie? What is the first image or sound or feeling that made you work on this project? Do you remember?
No.
You have not.
No, I just
no
I
idea.
just imagined the film and
In your dreams, in
No, no,
talks
no,
with
no, no, no,
people,
no.
in
Alone. Yeah, but consciously, no, it's not dreams.
no. But can you talk a little bit about the process, your creative process? Did you take some notes? Did you look for images?
I don't remember that well, because it was written a couple of years ago. And I had the idea, and at the time it was super classical. I think I just had the idea. I wrote it. I wrote the script. I co-wrote the script that we sent to the fund. Then we got the fund, and then I rewrote it. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, it's just that.
And
That's not much besides that.
okay, your movie has two main characters.
Yeah.
How did you choose them, or they choose you, or the movie?
How
choose
did I do the
themselves?
casting?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the biggest differences from the original script to this one was that there was only one a blind kid. That was Iva and Toby, so they were from the original script. But when I started rewriting, I thought that it will be very demanding for a kid to do a character. Imagine the film, but instead of being 4 characters in the experiment, there was just one. So I thought it was super demanding for the kid. So I decided to divide the character in 4 characters. So we started going to schools with special support to blind kids, and it was a long process. And I met them, and they seemed to wanted to make the film. And at the time when I did cast with Lucy, which is the kid that is even on the film, I thought it would be cool for him to work with someone that was close to him. So he himself cast the other kid, Toby. So he casted him. He said, "I want him to be him." I haven't seen him.
Your assistant casting director.
Yeah, but it worked, I think.
Did you? Okay, and they enjoyed work with themselves.
Yeah. It was funny. I think they had a good time. Yeah, all of them.
Okay, thank you, Diogo. Nuno, finally, Nuno, you've been here before at Curtas, and this year you bring a movie called Look, like an order. It's an order for the audience to look at your movie, or is something more
No, it's
gentile,
it's
like a whisper? Look.
it's a call for attention. Really, it's most of the time people don't really look at what's around them, and I was looking for called attention to people to what is around them and what happens in the way we have here. So it's not an order to look, it's a call for attention.
And what do you want that people watch or be more attentive to? Other people, to the weather, to politics,
No,
to social problems?
I want people to be aware of the other people that are around them and the relationships that they build. And the film is precisely about the relation between two people that are writing a script about two other people that where they project their past lives and also the future. And when I was in the middle of production, I had done with the other co-writer. We had made like maquette of the dialogues, and I presented in my studio an edit work in progress, and people were a bit confused because, but who are those people and what is happening? And I realized that in reality there was two other characters in the film. That was me and the other screenwriter, and so it developed into not just two people writing about a road movie that other two characters are experiencing, but it's two people writing about two people that are doing a film about two people that are in a trajectory. So it's. And there is one quote in the beginning of the film that is taken from Lewis Carroll, and it says that yeah, right, that when you don't know where you want to go, anyway will do.
No, it's funny that you mentioned that because your movie it mixes all that layers, right? But it's also a movie that is always mixing reality and fiction, and the main, not the main, but the so-called authors of the movie are you, or are a character that you created to play you.
Well, both of the characters of the writer and the designer are based loosely on me and the other writer, but we have exchanged roles because normally I draw and she writes, and in this case I write and she draws. And what happened also was that when we choose the cast for those characters, that is Flávia Guzmão and José Neves, I made a recording, and the recording just seemed a little bit fake.
For you?
Yeah.
Or did you try it with the...
No, it seemed fake. They are actors, of course, so they acted, and it's not the real thing. And I thought that I listened to, in this case, not me and Vanessa. When we were recording like leave the recording on. So we had, besides doing the dialogues, we also had a dialogue between ourselves. And that was the thing that really sounded like truth, because it was true. We were talking to each other. We were not acting, yeah. And so I had to put it on the film.
Thank you.
So it became more confused, but it's okay.
Thank you, Nuno. We still have a few minutes. I don't know if anyone here wants to make a question or some remark? No? Okay. For I just before I go to the last round, asking you what are you going to do next, I just want to ask for an advice to Tomás. If you have to recommend to the audience what to do you prefer that the people read the Agustina text before see your movie, or the inverse, first see your movie and then go to the brief text written by Agustina?
Well, that's a difficult one. I think whatever comes first to our hands and our eyes, I think it's two completely different things in a way. And that was also, I think, a book is always a book, and the film is a film, and even if it's inspired, I think there are two different beings in a way. But I like them both very much, but I'm suspecting. So, yes.
And next, Tomás, what are you going to do next, or what are you doing right now that we can see here next year?
Well, right now I'm still I'm editing as a profession, my way of living, and that's what I do. And I have to tell you, I have an enormous respect after doing this film for directing, for those who direct. This is true because it was the first film that I made as a director with some experience of editing. I did some films before, but I didn't have this experience of editing, and it's amazing. It's two completely different things, and I truly admire the root of directing, and it was very important for me as an editor to taste a little bit, even for our discussions in the editing room. It was very important. So right now I'm still editing films, and I will do it. And let's see next year some of those films. Hopefully, some will be here too. Thank you.
We hope so. Diogo, please. What are you working right now, or in the next?
And in directing, I'm gonna start editing a short, and I'm writing a feature, and other small stuff. Direct.
Talk a little bit. No,
No, sorry.
no problem. Quentin, more roundabouts or?
No, well, someday maybe I will do an international film about roundabouts. But I need funds.
No, last year or 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago we had a Portuguese short film about the roundabouts.
Oh.
Miraflores, I think was.
You have
the
to
name.
send
So
it
I
to me.
remember now when you.
No, maybe in the documentary field, I am thinking of a film about the skyscrapers in Paris, which are not so famous, but that's the point of it. Only that. Well, it wouldn't be about the Eiffel Tower. Only the towers, ugly towers in Paris, and I am planning to shoot 2 short films at the end of the year. This year, yeah. One is about a father and a daughter, and I play the father.
Fiction.
A fiction. Another one is about police officers in the police station, but they're quite depressed. So
In Paris.
in no,
In France.
yeah, we don't really know where it is set. And I am also trying to write a feature, but maybe more next year. When I finish these 2 shorts, I will have time to think about it.
Thank you. No. Well, animation is need a more extended period of production.
Well, currently I'm co-directing a series for children, for kids. For TV, yeah, that's got the participation of Portuguese television, and it's about a city where you only have kids and a network that's controlled by a clown that wants the kids to stay.
A clown?
A clown, yeah. Okay. A showman, that's a clown, that wants to that controls the network of screens and wants the kids to stay all the time in front of screens and never go out. So there are some kids that want to go out, and I don't know. I'm not going to say what happens in the final, but you can guess. And at the same time, I'm working on 2 different scripts for shorts. One is about climate crisis and growing up, so both subjects. I'm still not sure which is the main one. Maybe growing up is the main one, and climate crisis is what's around. It's the background. And I'm writing another one about mental health, because I have someone in the family that has got like a big problem, a big mental health problem, and there is no solution for it. So I'm not going to find a solution, but I'm going to pose the question so that people can reflect and
Notice.
and
Pay
notice.
attention.
Yeah, pay attention. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Nuno. Pedro, we already know that you are trying to finish your
You
feature
already
in
know.
Mozambique.
Yeah, yeah. It's like animation. It takes a lot of time as well. Documentary. Yeah, so it's I'm trying to finish this the follows of the revolution, the documentary, and also next year I will try also to finish another one, which is about the 30th anniversary of the Paredes de Cor festival. And by the way, they are going to be both edited by the best documentary editor I know, who is on this table right there with Tomas. So, great plans. Yeah.
That's all. Okay, thank you all. We have to finish our meet. We will have more meets tomorrow and Saturday, and we are also screening again the Portuguese. Sorry, Quentin. The Portuguese films in Portuguese competition tomorrow and Saturday. And now, in a few minutes, we'll have here the masterclass with Deborah Stratman. So I want to ask you for an applause for our guests. Thank you, thank you.